Nicktoons presents Dragon Ball Z Kai. Watch as good battles evil to find the Dragon Balls and save the world.
Now, there usually comes a time in life when you have to be like, am I going crazy? Did this really happen? And yes it did, because this really was on Nicktoons. The once Toonami staple found its new home on Nickelodeon. But not that Nickelodeon, its little brother, Nicktoons. Nicktoons at the time was supposed to be like Boomerang, where it showed a ton of reruns of old Nickelodeon content, but over time Nick wanted to change up the formula a bit. They started airing newer episodes of shows that didn't get their shine on the main platform. And one show that the overlords at Nick thought would be a great addition to that would be none other than Dragon Ball Z. Now you're probably going, what? Why the hell would DBZ be on Nicktoons? Wasn't it on Toonami? And it was, till it got taken off. In my most recent video, we delved into Naruto being on Disney XD, and DBZ was in a similar fate as Naruto, but it found itself on a much different platform. So we're going into yet another strange rabbit hole of why DBZ even ended up on Nicktoons of all places.
Be part of the journey to save the world. Dragon Ball Z Kai is up next on Nicktoons.
DBZ should go without introduction because it's Dragon Ball. Goku's name is so revered that it stops gang wars. Now this has never been confirmed to ever happen, but I am inclined to believe it because it's Goku. DBZ found its home on Toonami. It was a staple on the platform. You came home from school and you had DBZ waiting for you right there. It was hype. The fights were cool. The transformations had everyone on the edge of their seat. We all would do the Kamehameha hand motion whenever Goku did his. It was everything you could have ever wanted and more. Like Toonami, DBZ was very much loved, and we can all remember the DBZ bummers for Toonami.
The time has come.
I know, Bubbles, yes, I can feel it too.
Toonami's got new Dragon Ball.
Bring it on!
Frieza, Super Saiyans, Trunks, and more. 77 episodes never before seen in America.
Now don't expect me to go easy on you.
Dragon Ball Z today at 5.
But something happened. Toonami fell under. Animes were left without a home. At least the bigger shonens. Other shows were still shown on Adult Swim, but both Naruto and DBZ needed a new home after getting evicted by the Toonami tenants. So in a very weird turn of events, Naruto found its way in the House of Mouse, but not exactly the House of Mouse. Think of it as the condo that Disney was renting out at the time. And Dragon Ball went on over to Nicktoons. Both these premiere shows went to the supposed cooler older cousin of the main branch. Can you imagine you're watching My Life as a Teenage Robot and then following that is Dragon Ball Z? The whiplash you're having as a kid is insane. Dragon Ball Z, now branded as Dragon Ball Z Kai, would make his debut on the orange brand. Kai started as the re-edited, redubbed, and overall better version of OG Dragon Ball Z because of all the touch-ups and better voice acting that will enhance their experience. Nickelodeon at the time wanted the show to reach their target demographic of kids, so it went through some, light changes. So, airing a show of this caliber to kids is gonna have some changes. A ton of dialogue changes were made. So, these weren't the worst. Kai in the uncut version had swears, but the typical ones that were used in shonens like damn it, bastard, this sucks, you know, the usual.
That was no clock! That was a damned radar! Damn it! That was no clock! The punk had a radar! No!
These were changed so that they weren't added, but they still got the point across to the characters' frustrations during the moments. Funnily enough, the edits weren't as egregious as they would be with Naruto's over on Disney XD. Of course, some footage would get cut down, but this is due to characters cursing the way how I said before, but it's something you wouldn't miss as a kid seeing as how they edited it. Although with Kai being a more condensed version of Dragon Ball Z, there's certain things we get to miss out on, like the Home for Infinite Losers, which is the original Toonami edit because it couldn't depict characters going to hell.
We're exploding into summer with Nicktoons Summer Blast Off. It all blasts off Memorial Day with the Dragon Ball Z Kai Marathon and premiere. Got awesome movies every Friday.
Turtle power! Highest Fred!
Man, Dragon Ball Z Kai is in the same conversation as Fred the movie. And I'll do you one even better. This is on the same channel as Back at the Barnyard. We got our glorious goat Goku next to Back at the Barnyard. What does life even mean at this point? Now imagine going from this
You've been fired from your job so you can't pay the bills, and by the way, your wife is leaving too.
to Goku turning Super Saiyan after this episode. I don't even have words right now. But interestingly enough, DBZ would last 2 extra years longer than Naruto did on Disney XD. Dragon Ball Z Kai started in 2010 and would end on 2013, and the way they cheesed it was to have special lost episodes for the show after it ended. You know, back when shows used to pull that lost episode stuff on us to make us want to watch it even more. This is a wild time to be alive for, because Nicktoons as a whole, the closest they got to anything anime related was Avatar: The Last Airbender, but that was on the main Nick channel, and because I have to put some respect on it, but Kappa Mikey was also there, a show that aired way too soon for the jokes they were trying to tell. Needless to say, no one looked to Nickelodeon for anime content, not in the slightest. At least Disney had like Jet X, so they'd show Sonic or kid-friendlier anime. No battle shonens, but anime nonetheless. Nick didn't have a damn thing even remotely close to that, so to have the one-of-one Dragon Ball Z on your platform, that was a crazy, crazy pull. And boy, did Nicktoons get their mileage out of Dragon Ball Z, because not only did they air the show up into the Cell Saga, they even aired the DBZ movies, complete with the metal music that was used in them because they just used the Funimation dub version of the movies.
The only thing bigger than Dragon Ball Z Kai is Dragon Ball Z movies. All month long, it's big action.
We're warriors, Kakarot.
Bigger villains.
Still got some fight left in you.
The biggest battles ever.
Your hour has arrived.
It all kicks off with the Dragon Ball Z movie Broly, the Legendary Super Saiyan, September 7th and 8th on Nicktoons.
These were cut down and edited as well, at least when it got really violent. Also, this scene was taken out in Fusion Reborn.
Regroup, men! Attack! Kill!
This guy is too much. He can't read the writing on the wall. He's funny. Hey, let's give him a little scare and turn into Super Saiyans.
No. Blonde hair, blue eyes, super strength. I should be recruiting some.
Bro. Even in the context of this movie, this is insane to do, but they definitely weren't about to have this scene play in any capacity on Nicktoons of all places. That is crazy. Them showing Fusion Reborn and Wrath of the Dragon are interesting because DBZ Kai ended at the Cell Saga at this point. They didn't show anything Buu Saga related, so imagine you being a kid and you have zero DBZ knowledge outside of what you've seen on Nicktoons, and now you see Goku with this long flowing mane of hair, eyebrows snatched off the man's dome, just utter confusion. Now he can do, what, Super Saiyan 3? What? Last time anyone saw him, he couldn't even beat Cell because he couldn't turn Super Saiyan 2 like Gohan. Now, not only does he have Super Saiyan 2, but 3 on top of that? Damn. Also, Nicktoons used to go in on Gohan being the new hero of the story over Goku. They always had a bumper of him being the chosen one, to take over the reins after Goku. Now granted, in fairness to them, this is how it looked to everyone, that Gohan would eventually supersede Goku and be the strongest, but, you know, this is Goku we're talking about here.
Did you know you don't have to keep a tail just because you were born with one? Some dogs actually get their tails cut off while they're still small.
You shouldn't have let him do that to you, Bulma. You're no dog.
I'm not talking about me!
Now if you thought Nicktoons was gonna stop at Dragon Ball Z Kai, no, 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 no. It doesn't end there. These guys said, you know what the people want? You know what the kids are really gonna love? Let's hit them with that Dragon Ball GT. Hold that.
It's the next chapter in the Dragon Ball journey.
What's going on?
The brand new series, Dragon Ball GT.
Yeah, we're ready.
Brace yourself for the first saga in the series, the Black Star Dragon Ball Saga.
You mean we have 1 year to get the balls back or kaboom?
Nicktoons made sure that if they had the Dragon Ball IP, that they were gonna get every single bit of it that they can muster out of it. They weren't playing any games with this one. This was such a play to make on Nicktoons' part because they really said, now why would we just stop at Z when we've got the sequel right here? So Dragon Ball GT aired on January 16, 2012, and it aired the entirety of the series, of course using the OG Funimation dub that was made several years prior. There was no redub of it like how they did for Kai, but they did cut down on the blood for the show as they did with Kai. This is such a weird strategy in retrospect because just like with the DBZ movies that had transformations and characters we didn't know existed yet, this was that times 2 because this was set after the Buu Saga. So our boy Goten has grown up in GT, but as a kid just getting into Dragon Ball, you don't know who that is and what his relation to Goku is. Well, you might know if you watched the movies, but that still came out after an arc that we didn't see. There's something so funny about this, just airing GT out of any order. So as a kid, you're scrambling trying to find out what the hell is even going on and why it matters. These broadcasters didn't know what the hell to do with these shows once they had them, but at least Nicktoons got the mileage out of Dragon Ball that they did. They made sure to show us as much as they were willing to show, and they stopped at nothing to do that. And it made sense. They looked over and saw what Disney XD was doing with Naruto, and they figured, well, we should get on this anime train. They took Naruto, but they didn't take the granddaddy of them all, DBZ.
Listen, all I'm asking you two to do is get your driver's license. It's not like I'm asking you to save the world.
I might swerve in that corner, whoa, whoa.
It was a bold strategy, and it was in the same vein as Disney's, both having two top-tier shonens under their belt, but like all of these things, it'd have to come to an end.
It's the end of the Shadow Dragon saga.
Our destinies have led us here.
The final five are finally here. Goku and Omega Shenron throw down in one last battle.
You are nothing but a joke.
Can Goku's plan with Vegeta stand up against the Ultimate Dragon? Will the universe be destroyed? Don't miss the finale event. The final 5 episodes of Dragon Ball GT starts Monday at 9, only on Nicktoons.
2014 rolled around and Nicktoons would end up losing the rights to having Dragon Ball Z Kai, and like modern Disney, Toonami came back around to collect. It felt like Toonami was lending these IPs out and then just came around and was like, run the anime, all of it, put the anime in the bag, now. There was no real reason stated as to why Nicktoons never renewed the rights back, but honestly, it felt like they got all of what they could out of Dragon Ball Z. They didn't air the original Dragon Ball, they just kept with what they knew. Aired up until Cell, milked the last episode strategy, gave us the movies, gave us GC, and then bounced. It had quite the run, but just like how Naruto aired on Disney XD, it didn't feel right seeing DBZ on here, and that's definitely chalked up to how Toonami is. Toonami just had the presentation factor when it came to anime. When DBZ was on Nicktoons, it felt like just a show, but on Toonami, there was a presence.
Lots of changes going on down there.
So we need to mix it up a little.
Next Saturday, starting at 11:30, we're bringing you a mini Kai marathon.
It's the first 7 episodes of the Cell Saga.
Back to back to back to...
Tom?
Sorry, isolation's getting to me.
Intense.
The DBZ Kai Cell Saga Marathon.
Saturday night from 11:30 to 3.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
The way Tom used to talk to us about anime, it always felt like he was putting us onto some heat. Didn't matter what the show was, that man said, yo, lock in on some of this Dragon Ball Z. There's fights, there's crazy ass transformations, and you have a lovable main character. What's not to like? This made it feel like you were having a genuine experience with the shows that we watched. Tom also didn't treat us like kids either. Yeah, the shows were also censored on here, but the feeling of it still felt mature. It felt like we sat at the cool kids table. Nick didn't have that type of sauce to get that across. Bars. So with DBZ Kai being on Nicktoons coming back home after its extended leave of absence, we get DBZ Kai, the Buu Saga.
I'm not going to hell by myself. I'm taking you all along for the ride.
This is a fine mess we find ourselves in.
DBZ Kai, the Buu Saga, starting next Saturday night at midnight.
Bro, I couldn't play it entirely because of copyright and I don't need YouTube stomping me out again, but they were just playing some Run the Jewels for an ad for the Buu Saga. This is what I'm talking about when I said that Toonami had sauce, because that shit was so smooth and it fit too, which is even crazier. Anime just feels like home on Toonami. Nicktoons didn't stand a chance. All in all, Dragon Ball Z Kai had quite the run on the orange brand. Did what it set out to do and they did it. But it found its way back home and everything's alright in the world. It goes without saying, but your boy just loves some Dragon Ball. A lot. Like most people in the world. So it was funny seeing it over on Nicktoons for a good amount of years. But it's home. And I love seeing it over on Toonami. But that is gonna wrap it up for this video. Did you guys watch Dragon Ball Z Kai on Nicktoons? Did you even know it's a thing? And what other memories do you have of other animes being on certain networks? Let me know and I'll be seeing you all next time.